Alex, so welcome back to another reading vlog. This week's reading vlog is going to be my Baba Yaga vlog. I have been really excited to do this one. I love Baba Yaga. I love the folklore around Baba Yaga, and some of my favorite books that I have read feature Baba Yaga. So I decided that I was going to read a load of Baba Yaga books and I'd chuck them in a vlog because why not? And so I have already said in my December TBR that I am planning on reading 3 books, but I might just chuck some others in if I have time, but those are the ones I'm prioritizing. So at the moment I have the 3 books ready to go. The first of which is Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. This is a World War I and II, I think, inspired fantasy in which we are following the at least presence of Baba Yaga and also Koschei the Deathless. So I haven't read anything by Catherine M. Valente before, but I have wanted to read. Is she the one that wrote the girl who circumnavigated fairyland in a ship of her own making, I think, which I have also wanted to read. So I am excited to see how I feel about this author's writing, because they seem like a very interesting author and that they tackle themes that they tackle in a very interesting way. So very excited for this one. I also have The Witch and the Tsar by Olesya Salnikova Gilmore, and this one is another Baba Yaga retelling in which we have the girl who is the Yaga is living in the forest, and the village folk hate her and fear her, but at the same time they do recur to her for her medicinal remedies, the typical kind of witch trope. And then her best friend, who is now the Savina, is sick, and so she goes to go help her friend, and she realizes that the entire fate of Russia presides upon her saving her friend. I don't know much more about it, but I do love a strong friendship. It might go sapphic, I don't know. I haven't seen anywhere that it goes sapphic, but I am very excited to see this friendship. And I think that a lot of my favorite Slavic books happen to have a really strong female friendship, so I'm hoping this one goes down that route as well. And the last one that I have on the TBR is Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, and this one is not actually a Baba Yaga retelling, it's a House with Chicken Legs retelling, in the sense that we have these 2 brothers, one who is a hardworking, good citizen, and then we have the other brother who is a con man. I think he's like a delinquent of some kind and hasn't chosen the right path, and the 2 have like had a falling out and they don't talk to each other, and they are separated by miles of American highway, because I think this is a turn of the century the US. However, when they receive an inheritance, it is not what they expect, because it's not money, it is a house with chicken legs. So I think it's how these 2 brothers bond over having to take care of this house, of this sentient house. So I am really excited to get to that one, and I do love me a brotherly bond as well. So, you know, between the Witch and the Tsar and the female friendship, and then the brotherhood that comes with Thistlefoot, I am really excited to get into those. I have actually already thrown a wrench in my plans, because I was knitting this morning and I wanted an audiobook. And I already own one that I've already read, and I decided to just chuck it back on again. So I am re-listening to War for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. It's not actually Baba Yaga. She is like a mob boss who stylizes herself as Baba Yaga, but she's in there, and there's a Koschei the Deathless in there as well. So why not? It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. I read this, I think, in September, so it's not even been that long, but I just really fancied an audiobook, and for some reason that one was calling to me, and I was like, do you know what? Why not? So that's what I'm doing. I'm having a really fun time with it, actually. I'm really liking the re-listening process. So hopefully while I'm listening, I can keep listening to that. And if I don't finish it in this vlog, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, it would be nice to just dedicate some time to listening to it. And then I have started Deathless. I am on page 74, which is the end of part 1. And so far, so we have this character, Maya, and she is from like a poorer family in Russia, and she is approached by this man who wants to change her life. It's kind of giving me, like, if you, not in terms of vibe, but in terms of themes, I feel like it might go down the Dowry of Blood route of just, you know, you have this man who she believes is going to change her life, but it comes at a cost, and how she kind of fights back against that eventually. That's what I'm hoping for. The vibes are very interesting. They're not what I was expecting. I was expecting there to be this folkloric level, but it is more like early 20th century Russia. It is more like historical and depressing, but with this like peppering of folklore, this peppering of magic, kind of subtly and woven in that is it magic kind of element to it at the moment, which I am very, very excited for. It's dark, and it's got a ferocity to it that I think is really cool. I mean, I think that we are going to be dealing with death camps and the violence that came with the 20th century in Russia. So I think that we are going to be tackling those things, which is going to be a very interesting, I think, approach to this story. So while I am excited, I am also very, very intrigued by this story. So far so good, and I am excited to continue. So I'm going to be listening to One for My Enemy whenever I'm knitting, or like whenever I need an audiobook. I'm going to be reading this physically, and then if at any point I do go out anywhere or need to go do something and I need an ebook, then I will probably start with this author. Hey vlog, it is now Thursday, so I thought I would come check in. It is my lunch break, so I haven't done as much reading today as I would like, but I did do quite a bit of reading yesterday evening and yesterday afternoon. I think I got b-roll of me knitting, so I did listen to some more of my audiobook. I am now on track 8 of my audiobook, which is a lot of listening. I listened to loads of it yesterday. I had loads of stuff that I kind of needed to do. A lot of stuff to do with work stuff didn't actually require concentration, so I could kind of listen to my audiobook while I did that. I needed to do the typical type of bath that you have where you need to shave your legs and everything, which takes its sweet time. And then I did some knitting. I listened while I was cooking, I listened while I was cleaning, and I ended up listening to a lot of my audiobook. And then I've also been listening this morning. I listened with my breakfast, and then while I was sending emails, because again, it's a re-listen, so it's not like I need to concentrate hugely, especially at the beginning. And then I am also on part 3, which is page 167 of Deathless. So I read part 2 yesterday afternoon, because I think I was on part 1 when I last updated you. So I read part 2 yesterday afternoon, and I'm now on part 3, which I'm hoping to read today. I'm probably going to, once I finish this update, go read a bit. And then I also did start Thistlefoot this morning while I was waiting for my kids. I like to keep an eye on them, supervise them, so I don't want to sit here with my headphones on. But I can just kind of sit and read on my phone. And I ended up reading just shy of 50 pages this morning while, they got ready, they brushed their teeth, they ate their cereal, etc. Lots to update you on. So starting with One for My Enemy, I'm really loving listening to this again. It's such a lovely story. It really does go into some interesting places with the Romeo and Juliet narrative. I think I said this when I talked about it in September, that I find it fascinating how whenever we are reading Romeo and Juliet, there is always a side. So Shakespeare clearly preferred the Montagues over the Capulets. If you look at any side-by-side characteristics, you have the father and the mother of Juliet being rather abusive, while you have the much gentler mannerisms of the Montagues, of Romeo's parents. You hate Tybalt, you like Benvolio. Just a lot of the characters are very skewed towards you liking the Montagues and disliking the Capulets, and you want Juliet to marry Romeo so she can leave her family. And then you'll have other iterations where you are much more for Juliet's side of the family. And then this one, because it's a retelling but very loosely, it's kind of sometimes hard to know which ones are the Montagues and which ones are the Capulets. I suspect that the Baba Yaga side are the Montagues and the Crochet the Deathless side of the Capulets, not only because it's skewing towards Baba Yaga, but also because of who I think is the Mercutio character. All in all, an interesting take on Romeo and Juliet, an interesting take on who you're supposed to be siding with. I like the way that Olivia Blake plays with that. I love the contemporary setting, which is not something that I say very often. The Russian folklore, tiny sprinkling amidst all of the witchy stuff that is happening. We've got a fae lawyer in here. So many cool things. Love this so much. So I am very excited to continue with my listen. As to Deathless, this one is a very intense read. That's kind of another reason also why I picked up Thistlefoot, is that I didn't really want to be reading this first thing in the morning. There's just something about this that is like, it's a grim outlook. It's miserable, but it also has hope to it, and the depth of it is fascinating. I absolutely love how it makes me feel. It's going to be a hard one to talk about because it's very difficult to stay vague, which you kind of need to be, but stunning writing, so compelling. And if you're looking for speculative works that have Slavic folklore as well as discussions around 20th century history, I would highly recommend. Very specific niche, I suppose, but I would recommend. I'm not a fan of 20th century fiction normally, but this one is.
Editing fee here, just to quickly point out the thing with Deathless that I didn't mention in the vlog. I have been looking at reviews of Deathless, and one of the things that has been pointed out is that some people do deem it cultural appropriation. Now, within this, it is mostly to do with the fact that there is a BDSM element to the romance that includes the villain, Crochet the Deathless, who is normally not someone that people like. He's normally the villain. So it is the kind of retelling that does skew from the pre-existing path. And I can completely understand how some people would hate that. And then I've read other reviews, including using Google Translate to translate the ones from Russian, and they seem to be very mixed. People either love it, think that Catherine and Valente is like honorary Slav, or this is an absolute atrocity, you have fucked up my culture. So I have no say on that. I cannot speak for cultural appropriation. So everything in this vlog that I mentioned, because I looked at the reviews after finishing the vlog, is literally just going to be my thoughts, my takeaway from the book. And then if you would like to make a more well-rounded idea of what you would like to get out of this book and what Slavic people are saying, go check out Goodreads and some Own Voices reviewers, because this is just my takeaway from this book, and without any actual insight into how culturally appropriating it is. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
And then for Thistlefoot, I'm not very far in at all, but the writing style is lovely so far. I really like the writing style. I love that we sunk straight into the atmosphere. Like, it was very easy to establish where you are, where in the world, what part of history we're in, and a vague overview of the personalities of these brothers. I'm looking forward to seeing how the author decides to compare and contrast the siblings as well, because obviously it just kind of happens, how many, like, the things that they have inherited, things that, like, traits of them that are a product of their upbringing or that are clearly inherited from their home lives as children, versus, you know, the way that they have made themselves become as adults. So I'm really excited to see that element, but not huge thoughts on Thistlefoot yet because I've only read like 45 pages. Happy Friday vlog. I have left this update later than usual. I like to update normally like during the morning at some point. It's now afternoon, well it's actually evening, but I have finished Deathless, so I thought because it's a hard one to talk about, there was no point really in doing any more updates. So I finished part 3 last night and then I've read part 4 today. So I just figured I would update you in one swoop with this one, hence the later update than usual. But I loved this so much. I've ended up giving this 5 stars. Absolutely incredible story. And I really loved Maya. I loved reading Maya's perspective because she's the kind of character that you root for, but at the same time, and you want her to stay who she is and how she is, and at the same time you're waiting for that evolution. You're waiting for something to kick in, something to shake her up enough that she'll actually kick into gear and do what she has to. And I really loved the characterization in here. I loved the depiction of this time period woven in with the Russian folklore that we're getting. And I had an amazing time with this book. I really did. And I cannot wait to read more by this author. So I'm so glad that I picked this book up. I am so glad that I decided to do this vlog project and that I gave this one a chance, because this was the one that I was hesitant about. Because while on the one hand I really did want to read something by Catherine M. Valente, I also really do not like 20th century fiction very much. So I was hesitant. But oh my god, it really paid off and I am so glad. The other updates that I am a little bit further into One for My Enemy. I am on track 10, 11. I think I've just finished 10. So I will be starting 11. I don't know how much more I'll get done today of that. I would like to listen to some more because I am going to do a bit of knitting while I'm with my kids. We've just finished the kids' homework, so now they're on downtime, they're on tablet time, so I need to now figure out what things I need to get done so I'm not doing them on the weekend, so that then I can relax and just listen to my audiobook. So it's whether or not today is a productive get stuff done day, so tomorrow I can do even more audiobook, or do I just listen? It depends on how many things I need to do that actually require an attention span. So we'll see. But I am still having a great time listening. Nothing particularly new to report on that one. I think that one I'll just kind of tell you where I'm at, and then if I have thoughts, I'll just kind of check in and be like, oh, this thing. On Thistlefoot is the one that I made the most progress in yesterday and today. So this morning, whenever I wasn't listening to my audiobook, I have been reading Thistlefoot instead. So I read Thistlefoot on my lunch break and with my breakfast. So it's just I finished off Deathless this afternoon while my husband was going to go get the kids. So I have been very productive with my reading. Like pretty much any moment that I am not working or doing something with my kids, I am reading, which I am absolutely loving. So I'm now on page 256, I think, of Thistlefoot, and I'm really liking the interactions between these brothers, because you can completely you can see that they're brothers, which sometimes it's a bit like, okay, these characters are way too different to be related, like have common heritage even. You can see that they're brothers, you can see they're a product of their upbringing, you can see that the older one has older sibling syndrome, you can see the way that they interact is very, these people have grown up together. So many things that I really am appreciating about the sibling relationship. The house is a very interesting character, really. It is a character, kind of like in The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. It is a character, and I'm not gonna lie, this book is really making me want to read The House with Chicken Legs, so if I can squeeze that in over the weekend, I probably will, because I am having such a good time. But yeah, I am really liking the depictions of America during this time period, the social commentary that's coming with that, as well as I said, the sibling relationship and the characterization of these people. Overall, I am absorbed, and this is looking like it could be another 5-star, which is insane for me to have 2 5 stars in 1 week. Hey vlog, quick update today because I don't actually have as much to talk about. I am about to start some things. I'm about to start Lightfall. Lightfall starts today. And therefore, I just thought I'd check in this morning and just let you know all the stuff that I finished yesterday prior to Lightfall. So basically, I finished Thistlefoot yesterday, and I love that book. I love it so much. Like, just the sibling relationship, the house. I love the house. It's such a weird thing, but it's like I love the house so much, and I had a wonderful time reading it. The prose is gorgeous. The setting was so immersive. It's not even a setting I normally like, which is a recurring theme in this vlog, because I don't like 20th century stuff. I don't like American, like, Wild West thing that we've got going with, like, highways and trains and all of that stuff. I don't care. It was so good. So good. The relationship, the way they bond, the way they learn more about themselves and about each other and their relationship and this house. And it's just gorgeous. Loved it so, so much. I've also gotten a decent ways into One for My Enemy. I wrote it down because I'm listening to an audio and you are my phone. I am on track 14. I don't know what chapter or page that amounts to, but it's like a decent ways in to this because I can just switch off. Like, it doesn't matter. Anytime I am doing something that does not require any brain power, I can just flick it on because it's a reread. So I don't need to pay as much attention to it. So I can have a bath, I can have a shower, I can do my nails, I can clean, I can cook, I can knit, anything I fancy doing, audiobook on, listen to it. And I'm having a great time. I don't think I've ever plowed through an audiobook this quickly before. It's insane. So I'm living my best life with this audiobook. And I'm not gonna lie, the whole like Marsha, Dima thing is still really, really fucking annoying. But it's less annoying this time around, I think, because I knew going in. It's like, ready yourself for all of the Marshas and all of the Demas and the love. I'd love to see how that is on the page. I kind of want a physical book just because I want to see how prolonged these vowels are. Like, does it actually say Marsha? Like, or does it just say Marsha and it's just the audiobook narrator's like take on? They definitely would be talking like this. I don't know. But it doesn't bother me as much. And again, because I can zone in and out, I can kind of just omit the Marsha, Dima thing that goes on forever and ever. But yeah, I'm enjoying myself. That's the important thing. So, on to the next one. See you in Lightfall. Hey vlog, it's Sunday, so I thought I would check in, and it's been quite a productive day, so I've got some decent amount of reading done as well. It's just been like the kind of like a productive Sunday vibe, you know, like where you get stuff done around the house and you can still relax, essentially. So that's exactly what I have been doing. I've also been doing some reading, and because today is the first day, well, yesterday was the first day of Lightfall, which is the winter additional extra bit for the magical readathon, and I do everything magical readathon. So I started some books that could work towards some prompts. So the first one that I started was The Witch and the Tsar, which I'm using for, okay, I can't remember which shops are which at the minute, I'll have to tell you later, but I'm using it for the prompt where it's a book with aurora colors, the kind of bluish greeny cover that I have very much speaks aurora borealis to me, so that's what I'm using it for. And this one is a lovely story so far. I really like our protagonist. I like what she stands for. I like witchy stories. I like Baba Yaga stories. I love it when the two combine, and like the way that a lot of these like Russian folklores are used to talk about women and the way women are treated, I think is fabulous. So I am having a good time. We're following a young woman who is a Yaga, and she lives in the forest near this village, and the villagers really aren't keen on her. They're wary of her, but at the same time they want her medicinal remedies, so they kind of tolerate her presence. However, when the Tsar's wife falls ill she calls upon her friend, who is this woman from the woods, to help her. So then she must travel to her friend to go help her friend, because the fate of all of Russia depends on it. I am very interested to see how I feel about the development of this friendship, because it can go either way. So they're going to make it or break it. Either this friendship is going to the end, be one that's like my ride or die, or it's going to get into some really stupid, petty bits here and there that are going to really annoy me. And those are the only two ways it can go. So I'm very curious to see which way I fall. I have also made some progress in One for My Enemy. I am now on track 16. No, I have no idea about percentages or anything. I mean, I don't have a huge amount to say. I really enjoy listening to this. And I think I found that for me personally, the reread is definitely turning out better, because all the things that I found annoying in the first one, like, I know they're there, and almost like knowing that makes it more tolerable or something. I don't know, but I am less bothered by the things that irked me and really enjoying the things that I loved from the first time round. And talking of rereads that I'm loving, I'm also rereading The House with Chicken Legs. I did threaten to do this once I finished Thistlefoot. Just everything about Thistlefoot really made me want to reread this. This is the story of Marinka, who is the granddaughter of one of the Yagas, of one of the Baba Yagas. In this world, Baba Yagas are reapers, essentially. They are there to help the dead transition from this life to the next. And Marinka is being trained up to become the next Yaga when her grandmother moves on. But she doesn't want that life. She wants a normal life. She wants to settle down in one place for more than a few days. She wants to make friends, and she wants a life. So that leads her to making some very poor decisions with very, very dire consequences. And I love it. I love Baba in this. Oh my god. And like, I sob at this book every time I read it. I'm going to start crying way before I'm supposed to in this book. I love the house. The house is so cute, and there are just so many things about this that I absolutely fell in love with, and I want more people to know this book exists. So I figured I'd chuck it in my Baba Yaga blog. But that's it. That's it for the update. That's all I have at the moment. It's been a nice chill day, and I've started some things. I have continued some things. I am rereading some things. All in all, a good start to Lightfall, and a nice weekend of continuing to not do very much and just reading. It is Monday. I have been doing some workies, and I have been doing some readies. So, of course, it's time to check in. It's currently the end of my workday, and I read a decent chunk yesterday. I read some during my breakfast break, lunch break, you name it, I've been reading. So, I am on part I've finished part 2. I'm about to start part 3 of The Witch and the Tsar. So this one is divided into 3 parts. So part 3 is tonight's problem, and then I am done with this book. So how am I feeling about it? Well, I'm fucking loving it. I heard so many people be like slightly disappointed by this book. Like, so many people that were just like, oh, you know, like, it didn't live up to Winter Night. It wasn't as good. It's not even trying to be Winter Night. Like, possibly the marketing push for like the cover, maybe, but like nothing about this is trying to be Winter Night, in my opinion. Like, it's closer to Spinning Silver even then. So I'm not sure what exactly people were wanting to get out of this book, but it's not Winter Night. But as its own thing, it's a great book. It's a really good book. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it might end horrifically, and that's why everyone hates it. But most people's complaints was just, I was expecting it to be more lyrical.
I was expecting it to be more like Winter Night. I was expecting that it would be kind of more literary, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's not literary. I am having a lovely time. The writing style's still really nice. It's really easy to get through. It's really flowy. Yeah, I'm just having a good time. I really like the characters. The character work is amazing. The interpersonal relationships between these women is great. Like, that's why I'm here for. I just want these two girls to be besties, and I want these two girls to try and save Russia's ass, and girls that appreciate each other. And I don't know, like, obviously there's going to be some tensions and things in places, but like I'm having a freaking brilliant time. I might just be like on a Barbie Yaga high at this point. It might be some kind of drug, but I am having a great time. So I don't get the complaints personally. I am also about part 20, I think, on One for My Enemy. That's what I've mostly been listening to today on my lunch break and stuff. I actually managed to listen to a bit during my working hours as well. So I have a really decent chunk done. Very excited to finish that one up, but probably be done by Wednesday morning is the hope. I need to like pass it out in a way that then it's just the last chapter or two left for Wednesday morning with my breakfast. So hopefully I can get that done. Still loving it. Nothing really to add. Just having a great time. Just here for it. The relationship between Masha and Dima, I actually give more of a shit about than between Sasha and Lev, personally. Just putting that out there. I feel like that's commonplace, but for it to sort of seem like it's supposed to be about Sasha and Lev, it's not. It's about Dima and Masha. Let's be honest here. And then I am now over the halfway mark of The House of Chicken Legs. Listen, even talking about this book sometimes makes me want to cry just because of how much I love it. So, like, there's a limit to the amount of gushing that I can do for this book, but it is beautiful. It is a beautiful book. I love her growth. Marinka is such a brat at the start. Like, you understand, and I imagine if a child is reading it, they're going to be a bit like, yeah, I understand why that would be annoying. Yeah, parents can be really annoying. Grandparents can be really annoying. And then as an adult, you're like, I want to throttle you. But it comes from a completely understandable place. And at the same time, she is not being mistreated. Like, a lot of it is either this child is angry because they're being mistreated, or this child is a brat because they are spoiled or whatever. This is neither. It is a completely understandable, normal part of her life that she is wanting to assert some control over and cannot. And they're just kind of the cards that she's been dealt. And it's a very fascinating take on interpersonal relationships and on raising a child and on their personal choice. Incredible discussions around death and it demystifying death in a really beautiful way. And equally importantly, we have very well-rounded, flawed and complicated characters, which I think is really important in children's literature. So overall, one of my absolute favorite books of all time. I'm kind of going to be sad to finish it because I don't want it to end, because I love it. Hey vlog, so this one is potentially going to run over a little bit into Wednesday because today it's first thing in the morning, the kids have just gone to school and I still want to read Vasilisa, which is what I'm going to hopefully binge today. So I'll be able to just like quickly check in and wrap it up tomorrow. It's a bit ambitious, but it is the middle grade, so it shouldn't take me too long. So it is going to bleed into tomorrow. However, I am going to quickly update the fact that I have finished both The Witch and the Tsar, which I ended up giving 5 stars, which is not surprising because of how much I was loving it. But just female friendships, right? Just I'm in the mood for it. Now, I don't know if this would be like new favorite book if I'd read it at a different time, but part of being a reader is like
reading the right books at the right time. And I read this at the right time. That is exactly what I wanted from this book. This female friendship, these wintry vibes, the Baba Yaga-ness of it all, the witchiness of it all. And it gave me everything I wanted. So I don't have anything really more to say. I love the friendship between these girls. I love the conversations that it had. I love the depiction of this time period of Russia, and just overall, it gave me everything I wanted it to. And then I also have finished The House with Chicken Legs, which again is a reread. It's a favorite of mine. This one, like Uncle Pal, is just everything is 10. It's a 10 out of 10. This book is perfect. I love it with my entire soul. Marinka is such a brat. She's such a brat at the beginning. She's like as bratty as Mary from The Secret Garden. She is such a brat. But I love her. I love the way that she is depicted because she has so much growth. She learns so much about being herself. And kids need books like this. This book discusses death. It discusses growth. It discusses becoming. You becoming a human being, and you don't have to do anything perfectly on the first try. You will lose people and you will make mistakes, and it's what you do about that, and not having your destiny pre-planned for you. And it's such an impactful story, and I sob every time I read it, and I love this book so much. And if you've not read it, even if you don't normally read middle grade, please read The House with Chicken Legs. Just please. I am also almost done with One for My Enemy. Again, I should be finishing that today at some point. I've got like 2 hours left, so that's today. Might bleed in a little bit tomorrow, but we'll see. It's not a big deal because it's a reread, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm having a great time with my listen as expected. So for the most part, I'm just going to go pick up Vasilisa now, and then I should be done with you, and you should be done with me tomorrow. It's actually Tuesday evening, so I thought I would just quickly jump in because I haven't been able to update you really at all on Vasilisa. It was a bit of a busy one today, but I have actually managed to do a lot of my audiobooks. That's nearly done. I think I've got maybe like less than an hour left on audiobook, which I should be able to do tomorrow with my breakfast. I am about to go tuck into bed. Well, not tuck into bed. It's not that late, but like just go get cozy in bed and do some reading. And I have started Vasilisa. I am on page 135. I have now finished the 1919 timeline, and I am about to start the old Russ timeline. So now is when all of the magical stuff is actually going to kick in, and I have been really loving my reread. It's just been so lovely to be back here. It's making me really want to reread the sequel. I kind of need to contact the author and see what's going on with the third book, because so this one was sent to me, gosh, when did you come out? 2021. This was sent to me in 2021, and I have read the sequel, Elena the Brave, and then I am hoping that the third one will be out soon-ish, and then I can hopefully do a nice binge read of the series. So it's making me really want to just keep going with the series, which is lovely. So hopefully I can ask about potential release dates for the third one. But yeah, I am very excited to get into the like fantastical folkloric Russian part now instead of the 1910 USA, which is where the first half is. Now, it's not one of those that I am actually like, okay, I really wish we could be done with the US bit now so I can get into the folklore. It really isn't like that, because it establishes so much about Vasilisa as a person. And I think in the like fairy tale-esque ones, especially the middle grade ones, sometimes the character gets lost because you're so focused on the world and the magic and everything. I feel like we really, really get to know Vasilisa in this first part of the book, where we get to know her family, we get to know her upbringing, we get to know about her life before any of the adventure actually happens. So then it helps you understand the decisions that she would make, it helps you understand the choices it helps you understand her motivations. Love it. So yeah, very excited to continue. vlog. It is bright and early on a Wednesday, and I thought I would quickly check in so that I can finish up this vlog because I have finished all of my reads. So I'm going to go through them in order before I give you my final thoughts on Vasilisa, which is a reread anyway, so it shouldn't be a big surprise, but we're going to go through. So the first book that I ended up finishing was Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. I love this book so much that it really did discuss womanhood and belonging and so many things so well. And I am so glad that I read this, and I definitely will be reading more from this author. The second thing that I finished was Thistlefoot, and this one I ended up also giving 5 stars. I loved the brotherly relationship. I loved the house. The house was definitely what bought me. I loved the house with chicken legs anyway, just as a concept. But I loved the house, and I loved the portrayal of America during this time period. I thought was really interesting because it wasn't glorified, but at the same time, it wasn't just everything is awful. There were layers to it, and I think that was really good. And as I said, the sibling relationship was top tier. The next book that I finished is The Witch in the Tsar by Alessia Salnikova Gilmore. This one was another 5-star on a roll with the 5 stars, but this was such an incredible read. I absolutely loved reading this book because just the friendship between these 2 women, the setting, it was perfect for this time of year, and it gave me what I wanted it to. It gave me this epic and cozy all in one. Like, there was something about it that was very insular. It was very, you're observing these women, like a Naomi Novik book, like an Ava Reid book. You're following these characters and they're going through some shit, but at the same time you are exploring their becoming, their strengthening, their leveling up almost. And I love that. I love watching women just blossom, even if it's through horrific means. So I loved that. Next one that I finished was The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. This is a reread for me. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I don't even mean just middle grade. It's one of my favorite books of all time. 10 out of 10. 5 stars. Loved it so much. Stopped way before I was supposed to, just because I knew what was coming. This book just tugs at my heartstrings. I love the house again, and I love the crow that we have, and Baba is so adorable. And then Marinka's growth, Marinka's arc is amazing. Now for the 2 that I haven't wrapped up. The first one that I finished was Vasilisa by Julie Matheson. This is the first book in the Old Rus series by this author. I do love the new covers, which I will just quickly put here because they are absolutely beautiful. Now, I love these covers, but the new covers, oh God. I might need to go buy them. I'm going to wait for the last book to come out. I don't know when it's coming out, but when that comes out, then I will probably buy the new covers. But I did manage to finish it last night. I did have an amazing time reading this. Again, I love Vasya. She's a fascinating character to follow. I love Ivan and the way that he follows her and the way that he treats her, and the romance between them is so cute. This is like level 1 romantasy. So like, if you're wanting to get into romantasy but you don't want romantasy and you want a middle grade, this combines the 2. It's very wholesome, it's very cute, but it is quite romantic, and I love that. And the old Rus depictions and the way that Julie plays with the folklore. So we have Baba Yaga, but she is like actually 3 people, and then they themselves symbolize both the maiden mother crone and also the past, present, future from different folklores. And just the way that she plays with folklore, weaves them all into this Old Rus setting. This one feels so much like an epic fairy tale, and I love that. And the last thing that I did finish for this vlog is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake, which is the second time I have read it, not only this year, but within the last 6 months. So it's one of those things. But I had a lovely time listening to this. It was just a great, whenever I needed to be doing something, it kept me in the mood, it kept me in the reading mood, it kept my momentum going while I needed to do other things. And I'll forever appreciate it for that, because it really did just keep the Baba Yaga-ness alive, and I am here for it. So there you have it. Those are all of the books that I ended up finishing. I did finish One for the Enemy this morning, not yesterday. And I gave it 5 stars this time instead of 4. Everything about it felt more like a 5 than a 4. So I've given it 5 stars. Bumped it up one. But yeah, that is it for this vlog. So let me know what your favourite Baba Yaga retelling is in the comments down below, because I will probably do another one of these next year, because I'm unstoppable. And that is it for this vlog. So I'll hopefully catch you in the next one, which should just be a like Yule Christmas style vlog going up on Christmas Day. So I'll hopefully catch you there. Bye.